Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
Good morning, everybody. Wednesday. It's Wednesday. My gosh, guys. It's Wednesday. FOMC day. I'm excited. Maybe we get some good opportunities today. Market will probably be a little bit tight before that. Let me show you some things going on over here. All right. I finally reloaded my data in the EM, and you can see yesterday, actually a negative day yesterday. So here was the open, on the open, big sell, kind of out of nowhere. I don't know. We weren't really paying too much attention at the time, but I'm not really too sure why they sold it yesterday like that. Here in the overnight, not a whole lot of action. But over in the Treasury, oh my, you see that? They sold that. They sold that. Okay, so we're back to 1.6% yield again. We're going back, it is only a hop and a skip back to the lows. I mean, one or two big jumps, one or two big jump days, and we could get down there. And it's curious, this is happening going into FOMC. So I suspect that some people are hedging themselves. I don't think anybody really expects Powell to rock the boat. But at the same time, some of the other central banks kind of were a little bit more hawkish than I expected, at least. And so I would not put it past them to kind of rein this in a little bit, because honestly, this market is really starting to get a little bit unruly. Yeah. If I was in the Federal Reserve, I would be concerned about what this risk-free environment is creating and the potential risks of keeping it in place for too long. So we'll see, but nobody expects them to do anything crazy. Oil is boosted. The whole commodity complex actually doing well, except for, of course, gold and silver, because the dollar's stronger today because of the people coming into the Treasury. So copper retracing some of this craziness yesterday and then going down even lower and retracing it. But copper still looks pretty strong, I would say. Goldman Sachs says they expect commodities to increase another 18% or so. So if my memory serves me correctly. And then here you see in the dollars. So I mean, the dollar is still fairly weak. We're still below, 91? No, we're still slightly below 91. And kind of going sideways, but because of the Treasury weakness and, the E-mini not doing so great either, frankly, you are getting a little bit of dollar strength. And in fact, at the moment right now, you see up there in the upper left, it is moving pretty heavily up to the upside. So that's what we got setup wise. Just make sure we turn on our robots. There we go. Okay. Let's come in here. Ooh, only Bitcoin is up right now, huh? And corn is actually the biggest loser at the moment, down 2.5%. Yesterday's sell killed me, says Pierre. Yeah, I mean, it really did seem kind of like out of nowhere, didn't it? But like, there was the big sell the day before going into the close, and then we had, I think, 4 or 5 big block sells like that throughout the day. So it looks to me like a large meta order to sell. A really, really big meta order has been transacting in the S&P 500 I don't think it's actually in the futures. When I look at the volume in the futures, it seems a little inconsistent. It looks like the stocks are getting hit and the robots are arbitraging it out in the futures. I think the impetus is in the stocks. And there was reports that these sell blocks were selling like 1,000 different names all at once. So it looks like there's a large sell meta order coming through the market. And we've talked about the impact that those have and everything, right? So the book has kind of been tossed around a little bit. You're getting like these slips now because of it. But then, you know, it whips back because there's like, it's creating the liquidity vacuum more and more easily because of the meta order. So we should factor that in. It kind of makes the equity indexes a little bit less attractive to me. I would hope that they're trying to just get out before the FOMC, and then after FOMC that meta order is going to be done with. You know what I mean? What are you talking about there, Win? Talking about different chart types? You know what? It seems to me, I don't know why I've been thinking about this so much. You know why I'm thinking about it is because there was this thread on, let me show you this thread on Reddit. Let's discuss this thread on Reddit. It was one of these ones with a ton of comments on it. Oh yeah, so there was a video from this guy called Programmer Jesus or something like that. It's another YouTube channel. I thought his video was okay. I would describe a lot of the things that he say a little bit different because although he's correct on the major points, I think that there's a couple of small nuances in there that are incorrect that would be important if you want to be a trader, right? But his basic premise was all short-term price action is random, and therefore trying to predict it using past price action is useless. I wouldn't put it that way. It's not random, okay? Like, it moves because people are buying and selling it. It's difficult to predict because we simply don't have the information that you would need to be able to predict it. If you were able to talk to every participant, you know, then you could probably predict it pretty well, right? You know, if news happens, the market moves in the short term. You can predict that. It's not random. It's just difficult to predict using only price data. And, you know, we've been thinking about that a lot. And so when you come into charts, you know, there's all of this talk about different kinds of charts. Yeah, we come over here. 30-minute charts, that's something that's studied pretty well, and a lot of people use to kind of sort out the longer term structure of the markets. And I think that that's pretty smart, you know, kind of stuck in this 82 area, 81 area where there's just been a lot of volume over the past few days, right? We use daily charts, right? But look at how high we are above all of the moving averages. Is funny. Okay, I've seen a lot of studies about daily charts and some suggestions that, you know, things like moving averages and RSIs can have some efficacy, especially if you're using it for stock selection. Seems like they're really useful for stock selection Okay. But then we get into the more exotic chart types. Like here we got a 1 and a 5 minute chart, really short term. Okay. So people, they go and they do the indicators on that and they're like, well, I don't know if this is really effective. It doesn't completely show me what I want on the chart when it moves because, you know, there's like this quantization effect where probably it should be a new candle here or there or whatever. So then they start going into maybe I'll use a range chart or maybe I'll use a tick chart. But they all suffer from the same problem, guys. You're trying to use past price to predict future price. It doesn't work very well. It just doesn't work very well. As everything that I've gone through and every little bit of study that I've done keeps coming back to the same conclusion that analysis of price alone is not very effective at predicting future price movements. Not very effective at all. And frankly, even if you go in and you add everything that we have with order flow and everything like that, I think you can get a really good picture of what the market is like right now, and you can use that information to adjust your strategies. For instance, if I come in, I'm looking for a tick, seeing a certain amount of volume coming through into my market is really important because that means that it's likely that I'll continue to see that amount of volume. At least it's more likely than not. And therefore, I'm more likely to be able to get filled on my trade. Okay, that's technical analysis, but the technical analysis isn't necessarily trying to predict the future price movement, is it, right? It's just telling me a thing about the conditions that tells me that the particular inefficiency that I do want to take advantage of, that I'll actually be able to do it, right? So even when you add all of that on, it's not predictive. But what is predictive? Well, news is predictive, or if there's a mispricing between different instruments, that seems to be predictive to me, right? Maybe there are some patterns that are predictive, but you have to dig really deep, and the ones that I've found were like too short term to take advantage of. Although I must say that this one robot, I'm surprised it's not taking so many trades, but he's been doing pretty good. We need to see like a really big bender of a day and see what he does, because so far the bad days, the days where the algorithm would maybe get clobbered, it was reading the book correctly and stayed out, didn't trade it. So pretty happy about that, right? Means maybe it is working, because I was kind of expecting off of some of my other experiments. My theory was that it wasn't going to work anymore, but no, it was a different guy. He was calling himself Programmer Jesus, I think.
Block sell.
Make money every day? Well, you're going to have to adjust your strategy. You know, I was thinking about it, because everybody complains about the day trader rule, right? For stocks, that, you know, if you do a day trade, you buy and sell on the same day, you only get like 3 of those unless you have an account that's so large, right? Well, but what about the wash trading rule? Like if you're coming in and you're doing a strategy where you're scalping, let's say that your winners are equal to your losers, okay, and you're winning maybe 55% of the time. Let's say that that's the properties of your strategy, right? And you're taking intraday scalping. That's going to hurt when wash trading comes, right? Because you're going to have all of these losses that you bought back in again that you won't be able to count on your taxes, right? The wash trading rule is much more harmful to being able to scalp stocks. If you trade the DOM, you should be. Where are you coming up with that? Let me tell you something, man. I'm totally a proponent of scalping on the DOM or trading on the DOM, But the idea that like all the people that are trading on the DOM, they're all being successful and everything it's no. Their success, as far as I can tell, is pretty close to what it is in all other areas of the industry. Just saying. Just saying. There's another issue is like, man. You come in, like, something that I see time and time again is people will say, well, we know that X thing works because here's this guy that we know is profitable off of it. Maybe he was lucky. Like honestly, maybe he was lucky. That's a possibility. Given what we know about the distributions and everything like that, there's going to be somebody that's going to be really successful off of this that is just really lucky. You're up 625 already from the Dodge Pop. Oh, we should come and check the markets. Let's see. Well, so the Bitcoin is still having trouble with 5,500, by the way. I mean, 60K, that I think it could be a little bit of a problem because 60K was this thought where they were having a hard time before, right? If they have trouble with 5,500, I'm not saying that past price predicts future price, but what you can do is you can come in and you can say, what do the people that believe in that sort of thing believe about that stuff? Well, they believe that, you know, if that's resistance and it's lower resistance, that's bearish. So if it doesn't, you know, if there's another push down to like 550K, it's probably going to be a pretty big hit psychologically to the Bitcoin traders. Even though, again, I'm not necessarily suggesting that it is predictive. Well, it looks like Garlic Coin is getting the dump here. Look at that. Look at that. So yesterday in Garlic Coin, do I need to go a little bit further back? Yeah. So there was a little bit of a dump. The market recovered pretty okay because of the liquidity hole. But now you can see here further profit taking and down a little bit. I suspect this was a pump, right? This was large buy meta order, and then he was like, okay, I got my money, and so I'm going to get out of it. And then these guys, they lost, you know, the meta order overall lost money. So now we're basically back to where it started at 12 in the end after it recovers. After the short term post impact, you know, I think that it should come back up to like 12, 15. No one can make 10 points each day. Well, I'm sure somebody got away with it for a long time. I have to say, if you were trading the S&P 500 lately and you set yourself a 10-point target and you set yourself like a 100-point stop, you probably would have made 10 points almost every day, right? You just like bought on the open. I mean, like if you really game it out, you can see how like somebody could just get lucky. They could have a strategy that in the long run doesn't work very well, but you know, it's like, okay, so Dogecoin is having a little bit of a bump, 17%, but not really seeing it across the rest of the market. So we got to be really careful. So the thing that I would say to you, Keller, about these sorts of things is, again, like, be careful about the large meta orders that come through like that, right? So everybody thinks, oh, yay, it's a big pump, it's going up, and then it's going to go again. But if it's somebody that's just trying to manipulate or screw around, and they don't know any better, they're, you know, you're going to get the BART, and it's going to do that. Why don't you connect to some private desk? What do you mean by DESC? a trading pool. Well, we might do that actually. So if you grow $1, 1% for 3 years in a row, that's $1 million. wouldn't work. Well, so a while back we did do a little bit, tried to pull together an edge pool for edge clear, so that people could get their reduced commission. At the time, I wasn't in a spot to move. I could do it today. Could do it today if I wanted to. April, May isn't really the best time to go and start something like that, you know? I think what I might do, I don't know, you tell me if this is a bad idea, but I'm thinking what I might do is just hold on to that. Just kind of, sit on it until the fall and get people together in the fall. We'll see. Might just stay where I am. Might go over to Ninja Trader. If these robots really start working out, we'll go over that. I have another robot to make, though. I'm not quite... There's like way more work for me to understand these things, but I really, really want to try more of an arbitrage style robot. What about Axiom? I mean, I haven't taken any of their courses. So I can't really speak to how good their program is or how good their traders are or any of that. I can say that they have a pretty solid reputation in the space. I can say that I really like some of the people over there. Brannigan that guy is great. I love the videos with Brannigan in that. And I love his soothing British accent. It's great. I love that guy. But I can't make any recommendation on their training program or anything like that. He's your man. Yeah, Brannigan Barrett is totally my man crush. We can call it that. We can call it that for sure. Yeah. He's 7-figure. I know he's made money. It's again, like the issue is you got to separate it out. You know what I mean? It seems to me like he's a good trader. And I have to say, when he shares insights, when he shares like high level insights about like how to develop as a trader and stuff, that stuff is pure gold. That stuff is pure gold, right? But I don't think you guys are saying it like that. I think you guys are saying it like, well, Brannigan Barrett is profitable. That means that I can be profitable too, and that I should just try and trade the way that Brannigan Barrett trades. No, it's not like that. Number one, he's a unique guy. You're probably not going to be able to duplicate the way that he trades. You're just not. I don't know how he comes up with some of this stuff. Some of the stuff that he posts on Twitter, I'm like, where the hell do you get that from? I should go back because there was a couple of things that he was saying that I was like, I don't think it's actually going to do that. But then again, there's the thing is like, okay, let's say, for the sake of argument, because I don't have like empirical evidence in front of me to show you, so I got to be really careful about like making a claim. But I believe him. I'm pretty sure that he's made significant amounts of money trading futures, right? So then the question is how? Like, where does his edge actually come from? Because it could be like he thinks that X thing is going to happen or Y thing is going to happen. He might not actually be that good at predicting it. You know what I mean? Like, the reality is that maybe he's just not very good at predicting the things at all. But he's really good at managing the risk. So when he does win, he wins super, super big, and that's how he built it up. I think that the case is with a lot of these people that get really big and become well known because their profits have been verified, that big part of their edge is actually just their ability to take on risk, which kind of leaves a couple of big holes, if you're going to try and duplicate their success, right? because what really happened was the fat tail came along and they traded it awesome and they won. But the fat tail comes along and you're going to blow out, right? The thing is with Axios, they trade so big, they can, 4 seconds, they can move the market taking, no. That's one I gotta fight against. I don't know if they really factor this into their trading, but remember, because of the square root law of market impact, you're going to get, here's the impact of your trade. And then if you take your trade and you move the market, okay? Other people see that, and so they're buying it and it moves the market, right? Then when you try and sell that position down in here, because of the sign change, it's going to go lower. It's going to go lower. So trying to make money just off of your execution impact like that is a losing trade. That's really well proven too from the empirical evidence that I've seen. So I don't think that that's accurate. I think that when I've looked at the videos where they're making money, I look at it and I say they're really well informed. They know what the piece of news is going to come out. They know it on a level that is beyond my own, in my opinion. And, you know, they have like specific things drawn out, and then they know how to trade on the book. They know how to trade on the level 2, and they're able to trade with size and adjust their sizes in terms of how things are going. And that's how they do it. Yeah, like you said, they're good in managing risk. Yeah. So then they're able to, you know, play it so that when you got the piece of news and you really know which way it's going to go, and they're able to just swing it big time and get really, really big and make a ton of money on that move. And then when it's not working out, they're not able to size up because of the way that they do it. And so it doesn't, I mean, I do the same thing a lot here on stream, right? I'll take little ones. I take a trade, doesn't seem to be working. Take a trade, doesn't seem to be working. And I get one, it does work. I'll size up on it. That one ends up being worth more than all the other ones combined, right? And what am I really doing in those cases? I'm adding risk. And as long as you're able to manage that risk correctly, particularly when the fat tails come, that can work. But the fat tail is the kind of the problematic part. That's where I say trying to duplicate that performance, there's some problems with that. Yeah. So if we're going to go back and we're going to say like a certain strategy or a way of doing things is profitable, or that there's a market inefficiency, really what it should be is there's a market inefficiency that you can take advantage of. You're going to need empirical evidence. And so we can't look at Brannigan and say, okay, Brannigan is the empirical evidence that X thing works or doesn't work. It's not the same thing, right? We can have empirical evidence that Brannigan Barrett is a profitable trader, but Brannigan Barrett being a profitable trader cannot be used as empirical evidence of the efficacy of any one individual strategy. In order to do that, you would have to provide information that a person can try and verify for themselves. And particularly when it comes to trading, allows them to apply it to a different data set as well. So there you go. Yes, correct. I know it seems like I'm probably saying that one a lot and talking about it a lot, but that's the thing that I want out there, you know, like if there's a change that we make in the retail trading industry, that's the one that we should be making. That's the one that we want to get out to people, is that to prove that a strategy is an effective strategy, you need empirical evidence. And this is what qualifies as empirical evidence and what doesn't. If we get away from this anecdotal evidence that everybody wants to try and use, then all of a sudden, all of these strategies that really in reality don't work just get swept away. All of a sudden it's like, oh, we really don't know all that much, do we? I think it would change where people look. I think it would. Well, you got a pretty good spread going on here in the treasuries. I'm actually thinking it's a little slow. No. Retail traders that way run away since nothing works. Well, it would be interesting, I think, to go and look at Axia. They're the people that take their program and see how well they do. I'm going to bet you. I would bet you $1 million. You're listening, Brannigan. $1 million that I don't have. That the majority of their traders fail as well. But if we say that 95% of futures traders lose money, and like 70% of Axia traders lose money, or students lose money, then that's actually pretty good, right? That actually means that they actually are teaching something that helps. I don't know, but I've never taken it. They sure have a good YouTube channel, though. If you're not subscribed to their channel, I would recommend subscribing to their channel and all of their people. I haven't seen. Let's go find them. I haven't seen Brannigan post on Twitter in a long time. Okay, he hasn't posted since April 16th. Okay, that's an interesting one. Or wait, I'll bring it over so you can see what I'm reading. They do keep some of their best students, well, that's good. I wish I had the resources. So when I become a Garlic Coin millionaire, here's the deal I make with you guys. When I become a Garlic Coin millionaire, if it went to like 1,000, then I'd be like a okay. But when I become a Garlic Coin millionaire and I'm able to quit my job, and then I will take some of that money. Well, and the YouTube channel will be like massively popular at that point, right? Because I made $1 million. I will take that money and I will go and I will take trading courses like Axia. I'll go and I'll attend in person, and I'll give you guys a review of their system. See how good it is. No, so here's a funny one. He says, in order to test the IQ of a trader, you simply have to ask them the following question. What would the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency do if the Fed reduced the available money supply in the financial system? That's a funny one, because I know that different people would have different opinions on it, but the evidence so far has been that Bitcoin declines afterwards. And don't forget your alpaca farm. I look forward to you live streaming with alpacas one. I know, right? We'll make trader videos and then alpaca. It'll be great. I tell you what, the challenge is going to be so great. Okay, so you know what? I'm feeling a little woozy again. Maybe it's something in that. Maybe it's something in the breakfast, because I didn't eat that stuff for breakfast on Tuesday, but I did on Monday. I had oatmeal, banana. It's got to be that oatmeal. So hold on, I'm going to be right back. I'm going to go check. Wait, what was I saying? I should finish it. Was there a joke in there? There wasn't a joke in there. Oh, let's finish looking in there, though. He was making some predictions, though, and I didn't see. Nothing ever came out of it. Oh, there you go. As soon as the U.S. 10-year yield stages a short-term bounce, silver and gold will present easy buy opportunities. U.S. 10-year is hitting oversold territory. Yeah, that one hasn't worked out. Yeah, I had bacon. If you had all carbs, your blood sugar could be making you feel woozy. You saying that having the oatmeal is spiking my insulin response too much? Could be. Let's see here. Let's research this. Wouldn't say I have an increased first frequent urination and fatigue. Do I have diabetes? That would be super bad. But it would be type 2 diabetes, kind of, wouldn't it? I did have COVID. I don't think this is related to that, though. I had that back in February. You might need to balance carbs and protein to avoid insulin resistance. It could be an indicator that later in life you could be prone to type 2. Yeah, it's only a thing in the mornings, though. When I eat oatmeal, that specific kind of oatmeal. Yeah, I don't think it's the same thing. I think it's like I'm hypoglycemic, right? Like it's a different thing. It's not that like my blood sugar gets too high and I can't produce the insulin for it or whatever. It's really like the opposite, that like my insulin response is so effective that if I eat something with sugar in it, my body produces too much insulin and then it takes all of the sugar out of my blood and then I don't have any energy. No, it was like the old style flakes. It wasn't steel cut, but it was old style oatmeal with a little bit of brown sugar in it. So like the brown sugar in it, that could do it, right? Eat a high protein, high fat breakfast. Full fat yogurt. I get heartburn from oats, especially Cheerios. You know, I didn't have eggs today because they were dirty and the sink wasn't cleaned out and I didn't want to clean the eggs. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go and get some almonds. All right. Maybe if you pay the hens a new minimum wage of $15 an hour, they will lay scrambled eggs ready to eat. Oh, I wish. I would be happy if they just didn't lay their eggs in poop. Well, so I'm reading about this, and the general consensus that I'm getting through here is that you just can't have refined sugars. I think that's probably the problem. So I think what's happening is my blood sugar is going to be low in the morning anyways, and then I have oatmeal with brown sugar in it. That spikes my blood sugar, and so my insulin overreacts and takes all of the sugar out of my blood. And then since the other food that I ate, like bacon and a banana, takes longer to break down, I experience a huge drop in blood sugar, and that's what makes me feel woozy. That's the working theory. Apple cider vinegar, yeah, I've heard about that actually, yeah. It's kind of funny that the solution to having too low of a blood sugar and having too high of a blood sugar are kind of the same. Don't eat refined sugars. Oh my, value investing icon jumps off Manhattan skyscraper to his death days after liquidating fund. Who's this? This story is really interesting to me. I'm reading it. Charles Charles Duvall, Vaulx. I think it's Vol, like in French. A renowned value investor and co-founder of International Value Advisors, died suddenly Monday afternoon, leaving the asset management industry in shock. It was an apparent suicide, according to New York Police Department, who confirmed to the press that Duvall jumped from the 10th floor of a Manhattan skyscraper to his death. The apparent suicide comes days after he finished winding down his investment firm. As Barron's adds, Duvall, 59, had built a long career as a risk-aware global investor who never deviated from his deep value approach, even when it meant keeping as much as 40% of his funds in cash because he couldn't find attractive investments during a 13-year stretch in which the markets favored faster-growing companies. I don't know what kind of film. Duvall's conviction set him apart in the industry, even among other battle-tested contrarians. So the value investors who have kind of been left in the dust over the past 10 years because of this easy money environment, one of them finally had to close down his fund, and I can totally picture his state of mind. You think that you're providing value to the market by identifying undervalued investments, and then the market ignores that? That would certainly kind of take a big hit to your, how you find meaning in life. Charles Duvall. Oh, too soon. Too soon. Oh, man. Though value enjoyed a brief resurgence earlier this year, momentum growth funds and cryptocurrencies have produced world-beating returns, while dividend-producing value stocks have seen valuations stagnate at levels well below their momentum rivals as investors place a premium on projections in a low-yield universe. I don't think that it was that money is not worth your life. It sounds like he closed down his fund successfully and he still had money. Sounds like he had no purpose. Sounds like his purpose was to find value, and society didn't find that important. I feel bad for him. Even value investing titan Warren Buffett has been forced to adapt by embracing Apple and other tech stocks. Duvall, a disciple of legendary French value manager Jean-Marie Avillard at Societe Generale and then First Siegel, before he went on to launch IVA in 2008, was a value purist till the end. He served as chairman and CIO of IVA until it closed up shop earlier this month. Others were willing to compromise and try some new approaches to adapt, said Greg Whopper, senior analyst at Morningstar Manager Research. Duvall didn't think that was appropriate and stuck to the deep value approach. His investors appreciated it because there weren't many other places to find that. The firm had more than $20 billion in assets under management at its peak, but it had shrunk to just $863 million at the end of last year. And he didn't like all of the debt. One source close to Duvall told the New York Post that his death was like a Shakespearean tragedy. The Post also reported that Duvall had reportedly been depressed by the redemptions at his firm, especially when longtime clients pulled money. Oh, so that would be another thing is thinking that you're seeing your success slowly fade away. I can imagine. Let me tell you what, guys. The music can play for a really long time. But at some point, there's always consequences to every action. For every action, there's a corresponding reaction. And I don't think that Wall Street has really had to pay the price of some of the things that we've been doing. You know? There you go, Izzy. Things return to balance. Exactly. The lower middle class has had to feel it. But the people making all of the returns, they haven't had to feel it yet. But it is inevitable at some point. They will have to feel it. And when that reckoning happens, it will be awfully painful. If life is good for a time, the universe comes to collect. I tell you what, man, the market, it's like if you make money from the market, they come back. They're like, I want my money back. They do it. It's a thing. Be prepared. Those fat tails. I've been thinking about it. You know, I really need to. Maybe I should stop reading what I've been reading. I've been reading about oscillations. You know, because we're seeing that stuff about stops. You know, we remember we were doing that research and we saw some stuff about stops, and there was this old line, Olbeck, whatever process. Well, as I've been getting into it, apparently that has more to do with how do you manage a position when you're trading a spread, essentially. So there's like a double stopping problem where it's like you're in a trade, you set stop losses. Either side of that trade could hit your stop loss, and so there's a problem about where you need to set that and a way to optimize the solution to that. But I think it's still pertinent because, you know, I'm trying to do some more arbitrage trades. So, but maybe I should stop reading that and just go and read Taleb's books, because it seems to me that fat tails are the ultimate balancing mechanism in the market. That you exploit a certain inefficiency for so long. How does the market compensate for that inefficiency? There's fat tails. And if you're not able to account for the fat tail, then you blow up. And that's why you continue to see these things where like a big number of quant funds will all blow up at the same time or things like that. It's because they've been making money for years and years and years, but they can't account for the fat tail. Because the market is efficient over long periods. Is he saying that this is life in general? I mean, in fairness, the market is very similar. Yeah. Everything you do, everything you accomplish, it all comes down to, well, that is a little bit of a fatalist approach. I don't think that's the case. I think that what I'm saying is that if you're making money and you're not providing value, if you're not providing value back to the market, then eventually the market is going to come back and take it. Right? So finding undervalued assets and buying them so that they're fairly valued and making money that way, that's fair money. You're taking advantage of inefficiency. Buying something because there's a temporary mispricing in the market, I think that's valuable. But some of the other things that I see people do, I'm not sure if they actually provide, you know, especially a lot of the supposed technical analysis kind of stuff. You know, like if you're making money just by taking on excessive risk, that's the one where the fat tail is going to come and bite you in the butt. At least in risk-based decisions, you take a risk, start a business, place, trade, no matter what you do, you'll eventually, that's not true. You can start a business and it can go on for past you're dead. There's certainly a thing too that if you take on too much risk, that your probability of failing is really high, though. That's for sure. So I'm noticing the 10-year lagging a little bit here again, yeah? Like, I really want to try and catch it, but I'm just not getting the volume to do it. And we don't really have any news to work with today. Given that they're so tight on an FOMC day, I think that suggests that maybe we just shouldn't touch the treasuries today until the FOMC meeting later. There you go. People who take risks have a taste for failure. You have to if you want to stand any chance at all. There you go. But this is the thing is that the thing I find so interesting about risk is that the more risk you put on, the higher the chances are of it working out. Like, think about it. If you do a business, the more that you put into your business, the more effort that you put into your business, right, the more you're putting at risk, essentially, but the more likely your business is to be successful. That's why a lot of entrepreneurs say that, like, you've got to go all in because, you know, if you have a backup option, then you'll just back off and you'll fail. So they intuitively understand the nature of risk. It's just like fat tails, man. Or long tails. It seems to me that for scalping, the reason that a lot of technical analysis strategies don't work is because of long tails. Well, that 132 is being acting a little nervous. I bet you a lot trades there, though. So if we go all in on Garlic Coin, we will be set. Well, here again, the more that you put at risk in Garlic Coin, probably the more likely it is to work, yeah, to a limit. It looks to me like in Garlic Coin that somebody tried to pump it and they didn't get enough of a run for their money, and so then they dumped. But that's okay. The issue with eating almonds is that you chew and it makes noises. I feel a little bit better now, though. Maybe that evens things out. I don't know. Trader Josh, hey, how are you? I'm trying to remember. You showed me something, didn't you? What was it? Let's see here. I'm trying to remember. What was it? Been a couple of days. I'm trying to remember what we were talking about. Was it more arbitrage kind of stuff? I don't remember. Well, we're doing pretty okay. I've been trying to kind of do little scalps in the 10-year. I don't find very many opportunities, but when I do, they've been okay. So, Robbo, we are edging closer to a biblical commodity price increase scenario. Ooh. I've got about 4 minutes to the open. Oh, just moved over to Edge Clear. Good deal. Did you join an Edge pool when you did that? So I was just talking, like I have a big chunk of money saved up to, start another account, and I was thinking about going to Edge Clear, but I'm kind of torn between that and maybe going over to Ninja Traders so that I can do my robots. But then a lot of the robots, I had a pretty big class, and most of them failed. I got two that are kind of funny enough. The two that are kind of working are the ones that are like take on a lot of risk, basically. You say Ninja any day? Well, I really want to do the Edge. So here's the thing. Well, hold on. Okay. I view my all of my efforts related to speculator theft specifically beyond just my personal trading. Josh says, yeah, but I got a better deal with just being active military. Oh, really? Okay. Well, anyways, so aside from just my personal trading, all of my efforts with speculator theft, I consider to be a collaborative effort. Essentially, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to build up a community and give you guys enough tools that you can develop edges on your own and then share them back to the group, and that in private groups, we can develop edge and maintain edge. If we were able to create an edge pool, and even better, we gave permission to monitor risk of the pool. I think that we would be better equipped to do that. You get what I mean? So you do the pool, probably with a couple of the people that we have. If we started a pool, I think that we would be able to get to that threshold pretty quickly. I don't know how many people would actually start, because when we did it last time, a lot of people wanted to move. When we did the pool, a lot of people messaged me to get into it, but then didn't actually create the accounts. So I don't know. Edge Clear is just an FCM. I think they're just a broker. They use the large FCMs that everybody else does. Have you checked out Edge Pro X? It's a Java language. Oh yeah, no, you're right. It's Motive Wave, which is a Java API, yeah. So I've looked into it. I don't know if maybe we should go over there, and there's a couple of these indicators. I have to tell you, man, there are a couple of the indicators that I have that are included in the Speculator Seth suite that you get for $10 a month that I really just don't understand how people trade without. That synthetic dollar index in particular is like, how are people trading without that? Like, seriously, I don't see how you trade without that. Like, everything that we do here in futures is traded in dollars. The value of the dollar has a huge impact on the value of the individual asset that you're trading. How are you trading E-minis or gold or anything else if you don't know what the value of the dollar is? I just don't get it. And none of these platforms have anything like that. None of these platforms even have synthetic instruments. I didn't get it. So I'm sitting here like, well, made it for NinjaTrader, but it's actually a pretty small percentage of my audience that does NinjaTrader. It looks like most of you guys are in Sierra charts. So I guess I need to go write it for Sierra charts. Well. There's a couple of things about that Edge Pro X platform that look really nice, like the ability to cross trade. So you can look at the E-mini order flow data, but execute on the micros. I think that's super great. You learned some Sierra past weekend. I need to go back and look at how Sierra charts handled multiple data series. So it's particularly so you see how on my dollar index that sometimes there's some jumps. So the reality is that there are some price movements in the dollar index that my synthetic dollar is not tracking because I'm not having it change the value of it every time that any of those assets change. Only the main data series, which is the euro. So we only see when the euro changes, and that's kind of a problem. This is coming into all tools offered in Brazil cross trading. Yeah, I'm surprised that Jigsaw doesn't have this. I'm starting to look at a couple of things on Jigsaw and I'm like, hey, Pete, you gotta get on these things, man. These are good opportunities for you. Okay, so a little bit of a buy at first, and then they turned around and sold it. And the sell is pretty aggressive, actually. It's a good 3,000 contracts down. I think I would have a hard time straight up trying to buy the dip on that one at the moment, because that makes me concerned about the possibility of informed trading. Similarly, over here on the treasuries just continue to push up, and they haven't really given many opportunities on the buy side. I'm not getting enough two-way flow in the treasury to really do my trade. Anyways, but then that kind of gets me back to like, okay, I should make my own platform. I don't know. Selling the tools, maybe it's just because it's a subscription. I don't know. Maybe I should turn around and sell my indicators for $100 one time or something. It seems like people are more interested in doing that. $10 subscription didn't seem to. I thought that would be attractive to people, but it doesn't seem like it has been. Like, we have a couple of guys that do it, but overall, it doesn't look like it's been super attractive to people. Of course, I don't push it a ton either. So if you haven't checked it out, you go to speculatorset.com and it talks about the indicators. You can download it, you can try it for 2-week trial, and then afterwards you have to sign up for the subscription on the YouTube channel. Also, you can sign up for the $1 subscription on the YouTube channel and you can use all of the funny emojis that we have. We don't take advantage of that nearly enough, guys. Win, you gotta use the custom emojis more. I know Win can use some. By the way, stream's doing really well today, so thank you guys. Already 10 likes. So normally we're getting 16. I think we're gonna smash through that. If you haven't hit that like button, go ahead and smash that like button. Okay, so here's the E-mini. Going for another dive. Curious. By the way, the Federal Reserve hasn't been doing their open market operations lately, too. That could be a factor in why markets seem to be a little troubled. I don't think I use emojis, but I see other people use them all the time. Yeah, so here's what you do is you come in here in the live chat window. Actually, let me do it like so that it looks like what you see. Okay, so you come in here and you'll see the little custom emojis window. And that'll open up this, and then it will say, here are the ones that you get for being a member of Speculator Set Day Trading. So then you can come in and you can say, you know, Rainbow Bear. There you go. Because we're moving down. Fed has been doing open market ops like reverse. Yeah, the reverse repo is still a thing, yes. But like the apparently buying the treasuries on the open market hasn't been a thing. Will there be? We could go and replace one of them with the ferret if you want. We get 4, I believe. So. Okay, so now we're getting maybe a little bit of a turn. Oof, I don't know about that one, man. The dollar is still rising. Oh, look, the treasury came back there hard. Not much volume this way either. Let's keep my eyes over here. No, we need to use the 4 custom emojis that we do have, which are the Raging Bull, Surprised Seth, Money Printer, and Rainbow Bear. And we use those more often so that people are reminded that they're there, and so that they know that if you join the channel for $1 a month, you can use the emojis because I want you to use them. I think it'll be fun. Obviously, $1 a month from people wouldn't really matter a whole lot, right? If you were all signed up for the $1 membership, then that would be $20 a month. That'd be great. I wonder why she's posting that twice. Yeah, the indicator package is good too. But most of you guys are using Sierra charts, huh? Uzi uses NinjaTrader. He has the indicators. But a bunch of you other ones, you're all cheapos. You use Sierra charts. I get it. That's cool. You're cool. We can make them for Sierra charts too, I guess. I don't know though. I don't want to put a ton of effort into it and then like 1 or 2 people do it and I'm like, because I don't use it, you know. Okay, so I'm hearing a 190 point drag from Microsoft, Amgen, and Boeing alone. Tweets Carl Quintilla of CNBC. I'm wondering, was there an earlier tweet? Did they give more contact to that? I think that drop must be on the NASDAQ, right? Well, I don't see it, but so if that's the case, a couple of stocks could be the reason why the indexes are moving down on the open. Makes sense to me. Is it a buy the dip situation? I'm not really seeing something that really gives me a strong feeling about it yet. Oh man, Winston, that's funny. I'm not going to read that one out, but that's funny. You got to be careful with them furries. There's some really shady stuff goes on in furry communities, guys. Don't ask me how I know that, but just trust me. A lot of shady stuff. Be careful around furries. I'm not saying that all furries are bad or anything like that. It's just that in every furry community, there's going to be like one pervert that will almost certainly visit you. There's all sorts of weird stuff on the internet too. The one that I still think is so hilarious is so much focus on incels. I don't think the incels are like a huge portion of the population, but I think what is happening is because the left wants to make it a thing for some reason, like they think that it's some sort of right-wing thing. Incels, I don't get it, whatever, but they're overly concerned about incels, right? Probably making them more popular. Probably a bunch of people posting in those groups that aren't really incels, but just think that they are. Because they're not trying. Being well versed in internet culture will be my biggest regret upon my death. Right? It's really funny to me how wide of a population though isn't really in on the popular internet culture stuff, you know? Like especially when it turned into like Pepe is a right-wing extremist sort of nonsense, you know? Like everybody fell for that stuff, and I'm reading the New York Post and stuff, and they're freaking out about Pepe, and I'm just laughing my butt off because it's like they're trolling you and you're falling for it. Like this is exactly what they wanted to have happen, was the media to act all incensed about Pepe the Frog. I wish I didn't understand the things I understand. Jeez, man. Anyone who knew Tumblr trends 10 years ago know why politics and culture are the way they are today? No, that's a good point, Uzi. Actually, going back, I think it started before Tumblr. So I remember when Twitter was a new thing. Was it a new thing? I don't know. Microblogging was a new thing. Twitter was the leader. There were a bunch of other services coming up trying to dethrone Twitter. And Ariel Waldman was Twitter's community manager. And all of the people that worked there were far lefties, right? And even back then, they were kind of pushing this kind of stuff. Like non-binary cisgender dichotomy stuff. So I always thought that it was kind of like, okay, like, but people don't care. And then all of a sudden when Donald Trump got elected, somehow it just like totally took off. Okay. Became mainstream thought. Oh, there you go. Tumblr started to ban porn, and then it moved to Twitter, and those cultures became dominant since for whatever reason Twitter dictates reality. It all became mainstream thought. Well, yeah, it's not that. It's that the politierati, or whatever we call them, all of the political observers are very entrenched in Twitter. These people spend all day tweeting. You'll just go and look at like reporters, how much reporters tweet compared to everybody else. So yeah, they spend a lot of time on Twitter, and so yeah, anything that was on Twitter was suddenly much more on their radar, and then it started getting talked about, and then that spread awareness to the normies, essentially. I think you're right. I think that makes a lot of sense. In terms of why maybe it became much pop. But I also think part of it was just Donald Trump, to be honest with you. Because everybody all of a sudden developed this like, we're more caring and sensitive than other people about every tiny little thing, even if it was like a stupid thing. Yeah. See, when you're sensitive and caring about all issues, the problem with that is that you end up signing up to ideas that are dumb. This is the ultimate. What is the word? The Achilles heel of liberalism is that they buy into every idea that's new, and ergo they end up supporting a lot of ideas that are stupid. That's why they need That's why they need conservatives to balance things out. They can come in and they can come up with ideas, and then they need conservatives to come behind them and implement the ideas and weed out all of the stupid ideas. Wow, they're moving up, but it's a little slow. Jordan Peterson said Twitter may attract people who want to feel angry. Well, the issue is that social media optimizes for engagement. And it turns out that controversial subjects generate a lot of engagement. I think that might be short-sighted. The problem is that I don't think that the algorithms have the ability to sit down and say, if we feed users X kind of content for the next 10 years, what is that going to do to their engagement? Because I kind of think that that's what's happening on Facebook, is the kinds of things that I saw on Facebook in like 2006 to 2008, when it was still relatively new, were things that like I absolutely, it was great. I loved Facebook. And then they started implementing all of these changes for profitability's sake. And they changed the news feed to give you a curated feed. And then all of a sudden it was feeding you controversial stuff. And it was like, okay, well, I can use this for politics. And I did use it to get my political messages out. And I think it was pretty effective at that. But then after that was done with, what do you have left? And then I barely use Facebook at all. And I think that that's happening to a lot of people. They don't use Facebook at all. And so you see what I mean? The algorithm is short-sighted. And I think that Silicon Valley needs to take a harder look at what kinds of activity the algorithms are encouraging and whether or not that's really actually in their best interests long term. Media had a very demonstrable shift to showing race. Well, that started way back with the what was that? That's been going on since Obama, right? That one is scary to me because I very much remember when it was like, Soros and these other organizations, they want to push racial division. And then right away it was like, oh, there was a shooting and there's riots and Black Lives Matters and all that stuff. So it was like all of a sudden, just overnight, this thing will like materialized out of nowhere. And then it just keeps getting bigger and bigger, becoming more and more of a problem. Because before that, I don't think that any of us, I never saw evidence of racial division, There was concern about it, but everybody said, treat everybody equally and we're good. So was that a sell? Looks like it. Looks like our good friend, the sell side sweep is still out there, creating gaps. Yep. Just a little tick, but it was still there. Racial division is just so easy. It is. I mean, it's really problematic because it seems to me to be something built into people's genes, Like, I don't think that it's built into your genes to hate other people because of their skin color, but it is built into your genes to develop in groups and out groups. Because very early on in humanity's existence, any out group was a true danger to you because resources were limited. So, yeah, racial division is just a really easy marker to create, that in-group and out-group. Just think, bro, from schools to government and major corporations are legitimately doing segregated diversity, equity, and inclusion sessions. That's pretty insane. Like, you talk about like at universities where they have 2 graduations. That one is like, why? What are you people doing? But that's where I said again, I'm telling you, the Achilles heels of liberals is that they buy into stupid ideas often. They're not they're not as critical of the thinkers, I don't think. Two graduations, what's that? Yeah, there was a university where they had a graduation ceremony for white people and a graduation ceremony for black people. Why? I don't see how that helps anybody. It's a natural instinct based on survival. From the first time man met another man, one died. So humans developed an inherent fear of the others. Just the disgust factor is leftover of this gene. Yeah, it is. No, it totally is. I'm telling you. Listen, Matt. I mean, different groups of people have competing interests. There's no question about it. And those competing interests can materialize out of nothing. Just the fact that, if you have the ability to go in and tax one group of people more than the other group of people, and then give that money to the other people, that in and of itself creates an interest that a good majority of the population will go for. As awful of an idea as that is. And if you are a political person, if you are a political person with zero morals, you can exploit it very easily. Yep. If that happened in my country, we'd be in outrage. Well, I'm sure that wherever you live in Europe, that probably there's similar sorts of things going on, though. One of the reasons that we have more guardians, more people who fear others, is because a creative artisan stood out, was colorful, and got eaten first. Well, no, it's that's a funny win. I mean, I don't know how to respond to that. It's a theory, I guess. Oh, you're from New Zealand? Oh, dude, I don't know, man. I'm pretty sure there are some things like that happening in New Zealand. That their prime minister in New Zealand is very liberal. Although they're definitely focused much more on guns rights and locking down things than anything else over there. So I don't know. So the E-mini taking another step up there. They are buying it through. It's really slow and churny, and we are going to come up to a big order just below 41.88. We'll see how they react to that. We got Comrade Supreme Leader Jacinda. Oh man. S&P 500 hits record high. Well, I mean, when I was watching this, I kind of had the right idea. I was like, well, like I knew that buy the dip was the trade, but I just was a little cautious about it this time. But, I guess it would have worked out okay. It's not a huge trade, so I'm not going to cry about it. I'm more interested in this thing over here if I can get a fill, but it's just too slow. As for gun rights and things, the government rushed laws through so no one could give feedback. They left her. Oh, man. Yeah, that happens. They passed a law to let cops search private property without warrants still in effect today. What? Really? How do they justify that with COVID? Obviously, there's got to be more to it, but still, you're right. You're right that politicians will use crises to push things through quickly. It was like the Patriot Act. I mean, I don't understand why we don't push back against these sorts of things harder. Right? Because with the Patriot Act, yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there that makes us safer, but there's a lot of stuff in there that the government probably shouldn't have power to do. And I'm pretty sure that once educated, that the vast majority of Americans would be against. But they never got the chance to understand what's going on and say no. And the thing that is so funny about it, I don't know, is that all, we all know that they do that now. Like after 9/11, I think that pretty much everybody that's paying attention in America understands that happens, but we still let it happen during the pandemic. It's like, when it comes down to it, the public has like zero ability to stop these sorts of things when the politicians are all in agreement on something. It's like, what do you even do? And it's kind of funny because one of the problems that we have in society right now is that it's almost like representatives aren't really a thing anymore, because everybody knows what's going on the internet and bully them into doing whatever they want, right? Well, I should have done it at 132. I had the trade right, but... So it's like, there's all of these things where it's incredibly difficult to pass laws because of online activists and everything. But then when a pandemic comes along, all of the politicians are just like, all right, let's do the thing. And okay, nobody can stop it. All they had to do was blend culture and politics. One used to lead the other, and now they're one and the same. Let me think about that for a bit. Okay, here's what I think. I think that politics and culture have always been inseparable. But I think that the place where the United States has things have gone differently was that in the 2000s, the Democrat culture, the move that the Democrat culture made was away from Christianity. And that was the thing that has really been the largest factor to the reason why we're having the cultural changes that we are. So when you don't have the kind of this religious framework for what is moral and what is not, it's really easy to fall for this kind of cultural Marxism kind of tropes, like whatever is bad is good sort of a thing. Because whatever is bad just means that group of people are oppressed, and therefore we need to boost them. Yeah. I don't have any more controversial topics to talk about with New Zealand, though. To be honest, I kind of avoid thinking too much about them because it's just been like, they've been under lockdown the whole time. They've completely decimated their economy, but nobody got sick. I hope it was worth it. And what happens over there is very different from what happens here. All right, Robert, well, I've been trading it on Sim for a while. So I haven't been touching my live account for quite some time. So we are doing pretty good over the whole year, actually, let's say. We've been doing really well over the year. Or since the beginning of the year, rather. But I don't like to use this issue. You're never going to hear me say I'm a profitable trader. I'm never going to say that. I'm always going to give you something that's more accurate. We've been doing well over the past X amount of time. Here are a couple of times where we had some fat tails that we struggled with, or whatever the deal was, right? Or we took on excessive risk that I was unhappy with, right? There's always going to be like that, because the idea that you just get to a point and you're profitable and then you're always it's nonsense. It doesn't happen. It just straight up, that's like 1% of people. It's not realistic based off of how we know that markets work. That's not realistic. There's always going to be a change in the market, and the question is, are you able to change with it? And yeah, there are people that change with it over and over again, and they're really good, but the chances of it flipping on you, it's always there, right? It's a constant battle. So you should never sit down and say, we've done it. I figured it out. Now you can just follow what I do. You make money. It doesn't work like that. Who's we? We the stream, right? We're all in this together, right? No, they're my trade. It's true. But it is a collaborative, right? I've been in America a few times. It looks more gray than over here. Dusty streets and homeless all over. For my what area were you going? I tell you what, the economic dichotomy in the United States, it's really interesting. You go to some areas that are just so nice, and there are some areas that are just so dumps. And a lot of that is just the people. Like, there are some people that are like truly the depths of, you went to LA. There's your problem. There's your problem, Trumped Up. You went to LA. Yeah. Because and what happens in LA is they haven't been here again. The Achilles heel of the liberal ideology is that they buy into stupid ideas. So one of their stupid ideas was homeless people aren't bad. We should help them, and they should be allowed to live on the street or whatever the deal is. And so what happened? Every homeless person in the country decided to move to LA. And like, here's the thing, like a lot of people read like homeless people as an indictment against the American system. And I totally get it. And maybe in some cases it is. In California, it's certainly a big part of it is like there are people that are like homeless in LA that of no fault of their own. Like straight up, it's no fault of their own. It just costs too much money to rent or buy a house in California. It's that simple. And those people should probably just move away from California, right? Because they could even have a job and just not be able to pay rent, right? Okay. But there's a really, really large contingent of the homeless population that have drug problems or other mental health problems. And there's even plenty of government services that can help them and things like that. But it is essentially, the issue is that the problem that they have prevents them from being able to get help. Right? There was this movie with Jamie Foxx that was like this, right? Like he could have the medicine and he would be fine and he could be a successful person, but he didn't want to do that because he didn't want to take the medication. Average rent for an apartment in Los Angeles is $2,306, right? Like that's more than, it's ridiculous. You can buy houses for that. You can buy nice houses for that in Utah. Over here, we feel bad for homeless people, but we don't let them on our streets. So we've only seen, but like that was the thing in California. They basically set the rules up so that the homeless could run amok. And the issue was that the reason why it's a dumb idea is because it hurts the value of the area. Like it leads to more crime and things like that. Right. Homelessness is a societal issue that you cannot eliminate, because again, there's just certain percentage of people because of whatever reason that it just chooses to be homeless, and there's a host of issues that come along with that, including crime. And so if you don't what is the word, manage and regulate that in your cities, that has a very negative impact on your city. They have things called homeless centers, yeah. But like, again, a lot of these people, they won't go there. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people that are homeless that, yeah, they could work. They could work, but if you're crazy, you tend not to go to work. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think people realize, outside of California, of course, like here in Utah, the vast majority of homeless people are people that are going through a hard time because of drugs or because of mental health. Now, most people eventually do come out of it, but that's usually what causes it. But you don't see that anywhere but California and New York. Basically, the homeless people left every other state. Well, so there was a pretty good break of the high, kind of getting like a little double top here. It's still pretty quiet. The dollar is taking a pretty good plunge here now. Like, it was rising up when things were starting, but now a pretty strong trend has developed in the last, I'm going to say 15 minutes in the euro. And there's a pretty good uptrend starting in the Japanese yen as well. And that is pushing the dollar down big time. And it is probably supporting the equity indexes somewhat. Although I think the equity... Okay, so what the hell? Wow. Did you see that? Wait, did you see that? That was a sell. I don't think I want to touch the equity indexes here, man. There's a way to fix a problem, have healthy, good drugs for free. Don't get me wrong, there are probably a lot of things that they could do to help homelessness in the United States for sure. Okay? Like straight up, this is, I mean, what I'm going to say is probably a little bit controversial and is like opening up a really big can of worms, but closing down all of the mental health facilities in the 80s was a bad call. There was a study that came out where they had these people, they would check themselves into mental health facilities, but then act like a normal person. And then they couldn't get back out of the mental health facilities, even though they were perfectly sane. And there was this big media expose about it and everything. Now, when we go back, it appears that the person that ran the study made it all up. Okay. And what happened was this led to a movement back in the 80s, I think it was the early 80s, right? This led to a movement that people were saying we should abolish these mental health facilities because people are getting checked into these and being held against their will, and you shouldn't be allowed to do that, right? But the reality is that there are people with serious mental health problems that are incapable of taking care of themselves and have been abandoned by their family and should be wards of the state. And the best thing for them and their well-being is to be in a mental health facility. And mental health professionals are actually very, very good at seeing when somebody is crazy or is not crazy. And that whole study was based on bullshit. So we closed down all of the mental health facilities, created the huge mental health homelessness crisis in the United States for no reason. And they should just create these facilities again. And of course, maybe there should be stricter rules about it and everything. But like I said, I'm opening up a huge can of worms because I know a lot of people are going to like knee-jerk reactions going to be like, no, we shouldn't bring back the mental asylum. But it's just objectively, it's been bad for those people. And I can say this because when I was an LDS missionary, we're walking around every day. And guess what mentally ill homeless people do? They walk around all day and nobody talks to them. And the missionaries want to talk to everybody that they come across. So missionaries end up talking to a lot of people with mental health problems. And in Topeka, Kansas, and a lot of those areas around there, Liberty, Missouri, and is another area really particularly bad. There is just a lot of people out and about with mental health issues. And as soon as you start talking to them, they're not all there, man. And there's nowhere for these people to go. They should be in a home. There was this one lady going to Panda Express with memory loss problems in my area, and she kept forgetting she keeps going there. Oh, man. I've come across a person that had temporary memory loss or had no temporary memory, basically. And yeah, it was weird. It was really weird. Be talking to them and they'd introduce themselves multiple times and things like that. Anyways. So it looks like we are getting some degree of spreading here, even though I don't really see it on my chart. What's the deal? Oh yeah, by the way, one of you guys asked, I think HF asked earlier that like, how did the algorithms do? They haven't taken a trade yet. So there were some slips, but Gabby never came back down to the area where she could buy it. So, and then it's been too long. So Gabby didn't take those trades. Now, Jay, I feel like Jay is being a little stingy here. A little too stingy here. Yeah. Like, he could have maybe taken that one. I don't know. Maybe I need to adjust some of his settings. Or maybe I'm not using the same... what was it? The same period. Yeah, because I have a period of 16 on here. Let's change it. I'm going to change it. I'm going to turn them off, and I'm going to change the period back to 8. And that should result in more entries so that we can really test them. Tesla is now sitting on 2.5 billion of Bitcoin, according to a securities filing. Whoa. So they sold the Bitcoin just so that their earnings could look good, and then they doubled down and bought more? Is that what happened? That's a little messed up. Oh my. Tesla is a scheme to make it look good. It sure feels like that to me, man. Listen, I have my own biases and everything, so like we're going to keep that in mind, but it seems to me like that Tesla is all just this big. Everything that is done at Tesla is set up to make investors want to keep the stock price high, and nothing else. And I'm starting to detect some real fundamental problems for Tesla. The quality of their cars aren't that good. They are starting to have issues with China. There are multiple car crash issues that are being investigated that, if the results of those investigations turn out poorly for them, it could be a significant hit to the company. I think that in the end, that a lot of what we're seeing from Elon Musk right now will be looked back on as hubris, and that there will be a movie made 20 years from now about the rise and fall of Elon Musk. That's what I think is going to happen. Do I have some sort of edge that gives me a high probability of being able to predict that? I don't know. I don't think so, but that's just what I see whenever I read Tesla, man. The only thing to save Tesla is if the government approves Tesla's chart changing nuclear power to solar power. Yeah. Don't get me started on that, man. Like, the United States needs to invest more in nuclear power, man. It's like, you see this thing, well, you talked about it yesterday. Joe Biden wants to reduce carbon emissions by 50% by 2030. This is an absolutely insane goal. Like, the things that we would have to do to be able to reach that are absolutely crazy. And I don't think that you can do it without it having a very adverse effect on the economy, right? But how are you going to do, like, say you get everybody to go over to electric cars. Well, that's great, except for that there's still a lot of coal and natural gas plants creating power around the country. Like generating power generates a lot of carbon emissions. And yeah, there's wind and solar, but that technology isn't anywhere even close to being able to replace it. You've seen these solar farms where it's like as far as you can see, just solar panels. And you're telling me that's better for the environment? Make a nuclear power station, guys. There's nuclear power that is safer, more efficient, more cost efficient than current nuclear technology. And we have wasted 30 years not doing anything with it when we could already have cheap, unlimited, carbon-free power through nuclear power if we just kept developing it. I should talk about this opinion more. Let's talk about it more often, guys, because I want to invest in nuclear power companies and I want politicians to do nuclear power. I don't think that Joe Biden was opposed to it, so that's good. But it doesn't look like they're like heavily investing in it. Especially, you know, one thing that really excites me is there's these guys that are building like mini nuclear reactors. So like, because one of the big issues with a nuclear power plant is all of the infrastructure that you have to build around it. It's very expensive to build the power plant. But if you can make these mini nuclear reactors that you can just ship to them, and then they put it in the concrete casing and everything, like that decreases the cost a lot and makes nuclear power way more viable for people. Because right now it requires a pretty big investment. You kind of have to have government buy-in on it for it to work. They bought that up at 01, but it didn't hold. No, now you're talking about guns. There probably are some changes that could be made in the United States in regards to guns, but they're not any of the proposals that politicians are proposing, I'll tell you that much. Hey, what's this? I'm seeing Trading Floor Audio retweet from Bloomberg. Top 100 companies have over 50% of assets held in debt. State, local government pensions to buy more, JP Morgan says. How do I add my mortgage to my short position? Some of the guys in chat are funny. So funny. So they're kind of on the bottom of the support line in the email. We'll see what they do. The 5-year seems to be dragging us up. Interestingly enough, though, there's more volume on the sell side in here on this one. I don't know if all one makes much sense. Bloomberg reported last night that the expansion of the so-called death tax is itself pushing up daisies, at least for now, or it might be only mostly dead. R.I.P. Biden's death tax hike. Yeah, probably there's a lot of really wealthy individuals in the Democrat Party that don't want that one. Although, you know what I heard yesterday was that Biden wants to eliminate the carried interest deduction loophole. I'm totally down with that. Hedge fund manager, when they make money for managing other people's funds, they shouldn't be taxed at the capital gains rate. They should be taxed at their regular income rate. You know it's fraud not by looking at the merchant, but by looking at the customers. Oh, Nassim, you're so smart. The more that this man talks, the more I admire him. Never tell people something they already know and know that you know that they know it. Wait, what? Oh, that's funny. He was railing on Bitcoin yesterday. Not a single reasonable argument that Bitcoin is a hedge against inflation or, as a matter of fact, a hedge against anything. I hate the Fed, therefore Bitcoin is the most common fallacy. I agree with you, Mr. Tadeb. I think that's a great post. It takes 5 years to learn how to make money and 25 to learn how to not lose it. Since when was he posting so much trader wisdom there, huh? Okay, we're about to get oil numbers here. EIA gasoline stocks and oil numbers. Let's see, how does oil move off of that? So close. Okay. I'd say an acceptable fill there. The 5 years kind of holding that out there, but they're not going for it. Seems that even though we've been moving up, the volume in the 5 year has been down. So they've been selling the 5 and they've been buying the 30. So there's been a bit of flattening going on here. Well, that's not good. That's how we pulled through the lockdowns too. That's why we haven't had restrictions. But you have had restrictions though, right? I don't know. New Zealand has had more, and Australia in particular, have had more restrictions than I've had here in Utah, at least. I know that much. Here in Utah, it was like 1 month back in March, and since then it's been fine. You have to wear masks, but you can do whatever you want. Now that you've only worn a mask once, that's pretty impressive. Wow, you must not go to the grocery store very often. Maybe it was never a nationwide lockdown, because I can recall at least 2 other times since then that I remember them saying New Zealand was going back into lockdown. It was like they would have one case and then like, okay, we have to go into lockdown again, guys. And I'm like, what? Trumped up is like, oh yeah, that's right. See, what's happening here is that you just stay home all the time anyway, so you don't even notice. That's what's. Now that, oh, I see. Because when it went down, it canceled the buy. I got you. We had one case in Auckland, and they locked down the whole city of 1 million. Yeah. Okay, so that's okay. It was only 1 tick. It was actually pretty close, so I wouldn't say it was a terrible trade. Probably not enough volume coming through for me to really do it.
Block sell.
Well. What do we have here? The equities are selling on that. Something hit. Something news hit. You check out Moon, but no. No. It's probably a scam. Sounds like a scam. Sounds like a scam would avoid. Well, I did see the euro and the dollar kind of flip there, but it didn't really react to this the way the treasuries reacted. Treasuries reacted, the E-mini reacted. It's a shitcoin. Well, that's for sure. I mean, obviously it's a shitcoin, but... Okay, so the E-mini seems to be retracing what they lost when we had that move. That one right there kind of looks like a trap. See, this one fell. One more tick than that, and this is weak. They're trying to hit up into this, and they're running an iceberg. That's not... think to be buying it, you'd have to think that this move is going to retrace. Might set us up here, though. Let's see. Should have had that one sitting there at 30. It steepened the curve considerably when that happened too. Funny day it's going to be so till 2 p.m. Yeah, probably. Well, we're going to quit here in about 20 minutes, and then I'll be back later today for the FOMC, right? Okay. Curious. It was useful to see that large order yesterday. I mean, you can see it on the DOM. Kind of thickening up in the treasuries here now. Yeah. As soon as it went through me, I was like, I'm on the wrong way this way. See. It looks so confusing to me. I wonder how people read or use it. Well, this is the issue is that I feel like that the Vista chart encourages people to pay attention to the large orders, which is not really the thing that I think you want to be paying attention to. Like big orders aren't predictive of anything as far as I've been able to tell. There is some, like, they do like bounce off of them a little bit, but it's like fat-tailed, right? Or it's long-tailed. So I used to trade like that, and it wasn't very successful for me. But since I've been paying more attention to like where they trade high and low liquidity, you know, I've done much better. So yes, the most big orders mostly disappear at the time. Well, what I found is in the E-mini really big orders, it's like they're reluctant to hit into them, so he often ends up canceling and doing something else, replacing the order with something else. Still pretty thick over here in the 10-year. Euro USD buyers making a play, tweets Forex Live. Yeah, thanks. That's about 30 minutes too late on that one, Forex Live. Must go. All right. I'll see you later, HF. Interesting. RTY is the one leading the indexes today. Even if they pulled to the 1600, they're not getting a lot of buys. And I don't blame them after what y'all just did. They're trying to squeeze in there, but see, that offer is holding pretty solid so far. Still didn't see anything come through the news wires or Twitter or anything that suggests to us why we had that move that we did earlier. It could be a piece of news that is really specific to the bond market and that we're just not privy to, like corporate issuance or something like that. And then the E-mini was just kind of reacting to the rates change, possibly. CTA crowd in the S&P 500 is approaching a record high pre-2018 Volmageddon positioning. Huh. We're going to get a 10K here. Ouch. Wow, somebody sold 5K on that? Okay. Okay. Did you see that? It took forever for them to get 10K to buy up into the 30, right? And then it bid up and somebody bid 5K on it and they sold that. So somebody must really want to sell this. So they bid it up again. What did they do this time? Oh, I'm 0 for 3, man. Crap. I guess that last one wasn't necessarily. I mean, like, how long was I in that for? 7 minutes? The ones where I was doing well, the whole time was a lot shorter, so. Even after changing the period here, I never got a signal in my NJ. Burning Man canceled once again. Oh no, 2 years in a row. Hmm. Not completely sure what I'm doing wrong here. Might just be luck of the draw. Look at that. So now the 10-year is dragging them up. That's curious. And over here in the E-mini, other than that, like that first buy move on the open, there hasn't really been a lot of opportunity over there, has there? Biden is being urged by activists to make potentially significant changes at the U.S. Central Bank. It's a Bloomberg article. I can't read it. Well, it's about time for me to go. I guess we just didn't get this one. Well, so I will be back about 5 minutes before the FOMC open. As soon as I close this down, I will go and open it up and create the event for it so that you guys can find it. And we'll do the FOMC. We're not expecting anything big for the FOMC, but I think that they could surprise the market. So they kind of look like geared up to do something today. So we'll see. But that's it for now. Didn't take any E-mini trades and didn't have much success with my experiment in the treasury. So disappointing so far, but that's okay. Hey guys, make sure that you check out all of the links in the video description. Yeah, make sure you click that like button. 21 likes today. Thank you guys very much. So I'll see you a little bit later today. In the meantime, stay profitable, friends.